What's up everyone and welcome back to the MMA Zone. Today, let's get started with Sean O'Malley disagrees with Khabib rule change. Recently, Khabib Nurmagomedov raised eyebrows by proposing that rounds should no longer be a thing in MMA. Well, not surprisingly, plenty of people have been shooting down Khabib's idea, including Sean O'Malley. And before we continue, make sure to leave a like on the video to help support the channel. Khabib was a recent guest on The Hustle Show, and when asked what he would change if he could run the UFC for a day, the legend proposed eliminating rounds. The way Khabib sees it, non-championship fights should run for 15 minutes, and title bouts would be 25. Since then, O'Malley was asked to weigh in on the idea while appearing on the Overdogs podcast. Here's what Sugar had to say.
It definitely would be good for his style. You know, you take a down, and they get up free. For me, there should be more breaks. Give me a break every time you're taking down. Give me 2.5 minutes to recover too.
It should be noted that Nurmagomedov isn't the only person to float this idea. Joe Rogan has repeatedly done so as well. The argument being that real fights also don't have rounds. But what do you think of the proposal? That debate aside, O'Malley was also asked to respond to recent comments from Cory Sandhagen, who said if he wins the bantamweight title, he'll call for a scrap with Sugar. The Sandman is booked to face the bantamweight king, Merab Dvalishvili, on October 4th, 2025 at UFC 320.
I wouldn't say no. If they said, hey, Cory beat Merab, you're fighting Cory for the title, I'd feel a little weird coming off 2 losses to fight for the title again. But I would, I'm not going to say no to a title fight, especially against Cory. Yeah, me versus Cory. I was actually trying to fight Cory when the co-main event fell out for that Max and Dustin fight. I threw my name out there to UFC. I was like, yo, 3 weeks, me versus Cory would be sweet, but it didn't really make sense for the UFC. Cory versus Merab was the next fight to make. But yeah, me versus Cory is a very interesting fight. That's one that's bound to happen down, sooner than later probably.
There's no doubt that on paper, there's a lot to like with the Sandhagen-O'Malley fight, but given that Sean is coming off back-to-back losses to Merab, you'd think he needs to record a couple of wins before he gets tapped for another title shot. But what do you think? Arman Tsarukyan sends a message to Ilia Topuria. Recently, Arman has been calling out Ilia Topuria for ducking him, claiming that Ilia is scared. Now on X, Arman took more shots at Ilia while referencing an Islam Makhachev quote at the UFC PI. Arman wrote, Islam has a great quote at the UFC PI. He will fight anybody, anytime and anywhere. Hey Dana, maybe now's a good time to put a quote in the bathroom for Ilia, reminding him not to sit down while pissing. Thanks, boss. At this point, Ilia has stopped responding to Arman, and yet Arman continues to take shots at him. All signs are pointing to the UFC making Ilia Topuria versus Paddy Pimblett, considering the two have faced off in the octagon already. However, there's a slight chance they could give Justin Gaethje the fight, considering he's threatening to leave the company. Caio Borralho is picking Khamzat to win at UFC 319. Caio Borralho could secure a title shot next at UFC Paris, and if that happens, it sounds like the middleweight expects to face a new champion. Borralho is booked to fight Nasruddin Imavov on September 6th in a fight that many believe would be a title shot eliminator. Before that card goes down, of course, Dricus du Plessis will look to retain the middleweight title on August 16th against Khamzat Chimaev. Recently, Borralho spoke with the Schmo. When asked for his prediction on the UFC 319 title fight, he said this. I always bet against DDP, but he always shuts my mouth. But I'm feeling like this could be a fight as fast as the fight with Khamzat and Whitaker, like a finish in the first round or finish in the second round. 60% of me says Khamzat will finish the fight like real fast. But 40% says that Dricus, with his size and weight and height, his weight, he's a big guy for the division. I think he can stop the takedowns and survive the first 2 rounds. Then the fight gets better for him. If you followed the lead up to DDP versus Boers, you know that the consensus is the longer the fight goes on, the more it will favor the current champion. While Chimaev is the betting line's favorite, more than a few people have questioned whether he'll be able to stop DDP early. But what do you think? Do you see Chimaev sitting on the middleweight throne following UFC 319? Max Holloway believes Ilia Topuria rematch is essential for his legacy. It remains to be seen when and who Max Holloway will fight next, but Bless continues to drive for a rematch with Ilia Topuria. Ever since Topuria put away Charles Oliveira in June to secure the lightweight title, there's been endless speculation about who he'll fight in his first title defense. El Matador has made it clear he wants to fight Paddy Pimblett, but on account of Holloway's win over Dustin Poirier last month, Bless has entered the conversation, even though Holloway was already KO'd by Topuria last October. So in a recent video that Holloway released, he had this to say about the possibility of rematching Topuria.
When it comes to legacy and everything, with Ilia having fights, I could understand, I could see, we're in the entertainment business, right? But it just comes down to his legacy, you know what I mean? Like if he wants to continue to build his legacy of what he has, it's like, I'm here right now, you know what I mean? Like, you did what you did once, you know, the greats would do it twice, you know what I mean? So at the end of the day, the ball's in his court.
Since Holloway is currently sidelined with a hand injury, and because he's only one fight removed from his loss to Topuria, it doesn't look like the rematch will happen next. But if Holloway does defeat another top contender, do you want to see the UFC run it back with Blessed versus Topuria? Michael Bisping says Conor McGregor can beat washed Michael Chandler. Conor McGregor has not won a fight in over 5 years, and many have questioned whether the controversial fighter can even commit to a full training camp at this point. But Michael Bisping believes that the notorious one could return to the win column if he finally fights Michael Chandler. If you follow McGregor, then you know that for months it looked like his MMA career was. Not only has the former champion continued to make headlines on account of alleged incidents, even McGregor himself said he was focused on a political run and not fighting. That all changed recently, however, when it was announced that the UFC is planning to hold a card on the White House grounds next year. McGregor made it clear he wants to fight at the event, and he's even returned to the UFC's testing pool. So in a follow-up video on Michael Bisping's YouTube channel, the former middleweight champion talked about who McGregor could fight. Since Conor was booked to fight Michael Chandler last summer before bowing out due to a broken toe, Bisping weighed in on that matchup. Here was some of what the Count had to say.
I'd like to see him come back. Him versus Chandler, yes, an interesting fight, 100%. Certainly a fight that I'd favour Conor McGregor to win. I think it'd be a perfect opponent to come back to and face after so much time away, because the version of Michael Chandler that we saw against Paddy Pimblett was washed, okay? He was done. He was over the hill. He looked terrible.
It's certainly true that Chandler was badly outgunned by Paddy Pimblett in April, and the consensus is that Iron Mike's prime is in the rearview mirror. But McGregor is a guy who was victorious in only one fight in nearly a decade, which Bisping also alluded to in the video. He doesn't need to fight, and fair play to the guy. I do respect the fact that he still wants to fight because, as he said and as I know, there's no other feeling like it. Will he still be the same Conor McGregor? I very much doubt it. 2016 is 9 years ago. That's crazy. Things move on, simple as that. Who do you see winning a fight between McGregor and Chandler if the two finally end up fighting? Ben Askren reveals huge update. Last night, Ben Askren released another social media video on his health update. He captioned the post writing, "Update number 8, and why too much pride is a big B," with the following video.
What's up, guys? I believe this is update number 8. Yeah, I'm still in the hospital. Came on Monday for a checkup. They said something was infected, and now it's kind of just been thing after thing after thing. And so you don't have that totally Stockdale paradox and just, I'm gonna be out of here sometime. I just don't know what it is. So I had to just tell myself that, tell myself to be patient, and not get too frustrated. And the topic I want to talk about today, besides that, would be pride, right? And so, man, this has been a really humbling experience, because, you know, before this I was pretty much totally self-sufficient, pretty much did everything by myself, took care of myself, didn't ask for help. But man, when you can't, like right away when I couldn't walk and talk, I asked for help, right? And even now, especially when I went home, got to keep asking for help because I can't do much myself at all. So that was kind of humbling, and it was good. And then, you know, the way I see pride or ego, they hold so many people back in life. The biggest thing I can relate in wrestling to it is there's certain kids that have too much pride and they're unwilling to admit what their bigger problem is, right? And so if I can tell a kid, hey, this is your problem, and they don't have ego, they'll work to solve that problem because they trust me, and I have the best interest in mind, and I'm their coach, right? And if they have too much pride, they're always gonna make an excuse for why that big problem isn't really the problem, right? Like if their cardio sucks, they're not tough enough, they're going to sometimes say, oh, I just had a bad day, I was tired, I didn't sleep well, you know, make excuses like this versus solving the real problem. And that same kind of thing happens in regular life also, is people with too much pride don't want to admit what their bigger problem is. A lot of times they don't want to admit they have a problem at all, but to outside looking in people, it's obvious they have some issues, and if you acknowledge what your problem is, you can solve your problem. But if you're unwilling to acknowledge your problem, you literally can't solve it. Can't do it, right? You have to acknowledge the problem before you can solve the problem. And so this has been pretty humbling for me. I asked for so much help, and it's maybe the pride and ego and how they really negatively impact people. So that's what I got, guys. I'll keep updating you. Hopefully I get it here at some point.
Dominick Reyes goes off on Jon Jones for not fighting Tom Aspinall. Jon Jones continues to take fire for never signing up to battle Tom Aspinall. While Bones still has plenty of supporters, it's pretty clear Dominick Reyes won't be defending the former champion. Not long ago, it looked like the tiresome Jones vs. Aspinall saga was finally put to rest, as Bones announced that he was retiring. The news ended months of speculation as to whether Jones would actually agree to fight Aspinall, as Bones repeatedly trolled the MMA world about his future. In addition, Jones consistently scoffed at the idea that he needed to face Aspinall to further entrench his legacy. Well, one man who is very familiar with Jones, in and out of the cage, is the aforementioned Reyes. Following his controversial decision loss to Jones in February 2020, he campaigned for a rematch that never happened. So while appearing on the Pound for Pound podcast recently, Kamaru Usman asked him about all the heat that Jones has been taking. Here's some of what Reyes had to say.
I think because he does this thing that he does, and he just strings everyone along and lies and tells this and says that, and then he's like smug about it, and then he's arrogant, and then he's not being genuine, man. We just want a genuine answer out of you, bro. Not some bullcrap, string everybody along, tell them, oh, well, maybe this, Are you gonna fight or not? I think that's what everybody's mad about, is just trying to play with all of us, bro. Like, just tell, if you're done, say you're done. If you're not done, say let's go, but I want more money or I want this, and that's it. Don't say, well, we'll see, there's a big announcement coming out, and then it's nothing.
Reyes isn't the only person who's expressed this opinion. During the interview, Reyes also opened up about the struggles he incurred after facing Jones. Reyes went on to lose 3 more fights in a row before returning to the win column in June of 2024. While discussing what went wrong, Reyes said this: "It was just me getting my together. I'd never lost at all ever in MMA my whole career. Some guys get in the UFC, they'll lose their first couple or win a couple, lose a couple, and then get on a streak or whatever. I was streaking the whole time, so when I came out and I lost this decision to Jon, I tried to make changes that I didn't need to make. I changed my team. Like, why did you change your team, you know? I tried to change my style to be more sitting in the pocket and just throwing hands. I need more power. I tried to figure out why I lost that fight." It certainly seems like Reyes is finally back on track, as he's won 3 straight and all the victories were by stoppage. What do you make of Reyes' comments about Jon Jones and about what went wrong after his much debated loss to Bones? Neil Magny receives black belt during his birthday. Last night, Neil Magny scored a TKO win over Eliseu Zaleski dos Santos during UFC's Fight Night card. With this impressive win, it was also Neil Magny's birthday. As he was enjoying his birthday cake during the post-fight presser, Magny's coach gave him a black belt.
Whoa. Congrats, man.
Buddy. Sure got the submission. Dang it. It's awesome. Thank you.
Later, when asked about his reaction on everything, this is what he had to say.
How does that feel right there?
Man, it feels great. I mean, anytime you get any kind of token of appreciation for hard work, I mean, it always feels good to get that reward.
Huge congratulations to Neil Magny for receiving his black belt. Amanda Nunes sends a warning to Kayla Harrison. Amanda Nunes hasn't fought for 2 years and will need to get by one of the most decorated fighters in all of combat sports first. But the Lioness is super confident she's going to win the UFC's bantamweight title one more time. After Harrison won the bantamweight crown in June by submitting Juliana Pena, Nunes was on hand to announce that she's coming out of retirement to face the new champ. More recently, MMA Fighting caught up with Nunes. When the legend was asked about what's next for her, Nunes said this: "The next thing is and new. You're going to hear and new. Isn't that crazy? If you guys think about that honest, I'm going to get my belt back and you're going to interview me again. And I'm going to tell you, remember I told you I'm going to get my belt back. Hoping this year for sure. I'm going to talk to Dana, to Hunter, to see, you know what I mean? I'm ready to go. I'm healthy, I'm training, so I'm ready to go." It'll be interesting to see if this fight happens this year, but if it does, who do you have winning it? Khabib leaks Islam Makhachev versus JDM fight date. Yesterday, Khabib held an event in New York City. During the event, some fans were able to ask Khabib questions. During the Q&A, he seemingly leaked that Islam Makhachev versus Jack Della Maddalena will happen in November at Madison Square Garden for UFC 322, because according to him, they were promised an event at MSG. Here's the clip.
Brother, they promised us
Be quiet, please. I think the manager. He's now upset because I give information. But this is his deal with UFC. I don't deal with UFC. This is his problem. But we have deal with them. He's gonna fight in Madison Square Garden, and they say yes.
So with that news being announced, who do you think will win at UFC 322? Islam Makhachev or Jack Della Maddalena? We have a favor to ask. Help us reach 200,000 subscribers on MMA Zone by subscribing and turning on notifications for daily MMA content. Seriously, we rarely miss a day.